Now to our rough roads and the fight over the financial fix for them. According to the Wisconsin State Journal, Transportation Secretary Mark Gottlieb is not planning tax or fee increases for the next budget, admitting the move could threaten some major road projects in the Madison and Milwaukee areas. Last week, we had on Assembly Majority Leader Jim Steineke, who says everything should be on the table for a possible fix, including a gas tax to boost the transportation fund. This week, fellow Republican Senator Dewey Strobel of the town of Cedarburg joins us. And Senator, let's begin by saying there is another side to this discussion. You do not believe that tax increases or fee increases is the way to go. Why not?
No, I do not. We certainly all understand it's the state's responsibility that we have good roads for quality of life, economy, and safety. But we are a high-tax state. In spite of the things that we've been doing in this state, there's still only 7 tax states that have a worse tax environment than ours. So we need to live within our means, and this isn't living within our means. And our gas tax right now is 13th highest in the country. And that's been frozen for 10 years. We used to be pretty much #1. So, we've had adequate resources for our transportation. And one other thing that I think needs to be debunked is the quality of our roads. We hear about these studies that say how bad our roads are. Well, you look at who pays for those studies. It's people who make money building roads. The road builders are paying for those studies.
So do you think the roads are in okay shape or good shape?
The Reason Foundation has been doing a study for years on roads throughout and comparing each state. We rank number 14 in the quality of our roads. There's a very detailed metric there that shows that. And when you look at a few other interesting facts, of the 4 states that have the worst roads, they are not right to work and they have prevailing wage. Of the 10 states that have the best roads, there's no prevailing wage and right to work is in place. So that is a place we need to move to. We've begun to move there now with right to work and a partial repeal of prevailing wage, but we need to go all the way there. And then those are one of the things that are going to help us stack up better.
So you do agree that we have to find a long-term fix for the transportation funding. So what should we be looking at if these other items are off the table as far as you're concerned?
Well, first off, there's some things that are kind of messing up the long-term situation that are temporary, i.e. Doyle took money from our state transportation fund. We had a whole heck of a lot of money there. He took it to plug budget holes. He bonded a ton during the Doyle years. That debt service we're incurring and we're paying for right now. We also have big projects that are coming through the pipe right now. Things with 50-year lives that we have to get done now. So those are some temporary things happening. But the knee-jerk reaction isn't to raise taxes, because once you raise taxes, they never go away. But what we need to do is look at how we can make those reforms to cover the things that we have today.
You say greater efficiencies. What do you mean by that? When you say efficiencies, what are we doing that's not efficient?
Okay, prevailing wage. We need to repeal it for state work. The Bureau of Labor Statistics indicates an apples-to-apples job, 44% higher for a prevailing wage. We just can't continue to pay that type of thing. Now, we have a partial repeal of prevailing wage, and believe me, the road builders fought that tooth and nail. But we've got to redo it at the state level. And other things too, Fed swap. I had a bill last session where what happens is whenever you have federal money in a project, even as little as $2,000, it puts in a whole nother set of rules and bureaucracy and red tape. And even by the road builders' estimate a couple of years ago, they indicated that it costs 25% more to deliver a road when you have federal money involved. Paul Farrell over in Waukesha County, Janesville Road, he had to build 2 miles of road. He did 1 mile of it with federal money, 1 mile of it without federal money. That section without federal money cost $6 million to build. That section with federal money cost $8 million to build. Apples to apples, that's how much that raises the cost. When you do the math on that throughout the state, we can save a lot of money, but the road builders don't like that.
I've got one final question, very, very briefly. You want an audit. You want to look at everything right now. Why?
Well, we haven't done that for 20 years. And I think we're going to see a lot of the things out there I hope that this audit addresses. First off, we need to put more money towards maintenance and less towards expansion. that is something that's important, because when we look at our traffic counts, they're not growing. If we look at the projections from years ago of the DOT, they are not anywhere near that they project. And that is the premise that we do a lot of our road projects based upon that. So that's an issue we have to contend with. You know, we've got roundabouts. How much money are we spending on roundabouts? We've got issues with this, with beautification that we're doing. We've got issues with pedestrian and bicycle things. You know, we need to look at our core principles here. And in these days, we've got to be conservative, and we tax high enough in this state. We've got the money there. We need to make the prudent adjustments to utilize the funds that we have to make this work.
Senator Dewey Strobel is a Republican from the town of Cedarburg. It's good to have you on the program
Thank
today.
you.
Thanks very much for being with us. Coming up next on Up Front, the future of Waukesha's water.